finally, a small SUV from one of Australia's most popular car companies, Kia. It's the Kia Seltos, and while it's on the large side of small SUVs, it's still smaller than their mid-sized Sportage. Cute too, right? I'm in the GT line, which is at the top of the range and might seem a little pricey at $42,000 drive away. But the Seltos range starts at $26,000, so don't be put off by the price. There's a little bit of wiggle room depending on what features are important for your family. It's in competition with cars like the Hyundai Kona, the Toyota CHR and the Honda HR-V. I test drove it for 7 days for this week's family review. For a more detailed review, check out the CarsGuide website, and if you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to hit subscribe. With the exterior, they've gone for quite a cool, funky vibe, and the two-tone paint job is available only on the GT line. It seems to be the paint job of the year. They've got an upward sloping angle towards the back, which gives it a really sporty finish. Inside the car looks pretty cool too. In this top of the range model, you will get a premium steering wheel that feels really nice, plus leather look seats that are also 10-way adjustable on the driver's side. The center console is nicely designed and the whole car looks really slick. I particularly like this flat gear stick that feels quite nice too. And there's a large 10.25-inch multimedia screen on this model that actually feels really big for a small SUV. The finishes aren't super premium. There's a fair bit of man-made materials going on, but it doesn't look cheap. In fact, it looks the opposite, and I felt really good driving on the road in the Seltos this week. You get 2 cup holders in the front seat, a really large center storage bin for a small SUV, a great spot for keys and a phone, and bottle holders in each door. And the space up the front is really decent. It's certainly better than most in the class, with ample leg and headroom. I didn't feel cramped or too close to the person next to me in the front at all. The back seat is nice and spacious. My 2 children fit back here easily. They're 6 and 8. I'm 161 centimeters and I fit back here nice and neatly. And even our resident CarsGuide tour guy, Richard Berry, can fit back here. So it's a big back seat. Don't think you're going to fit 3 kid seats across here though. I was unable to with my 3 child seats. You might be able to with yours, but I wouldn't expect that in a small SUV anyway. You will get rear air vents in the second row, which is so rare in this category. Small SUVs barely ever have rear air vents, and you only actually get them in the GT line, so only in this top spec will you find these. You do get 2 cup holders in the center armrest and a pocket on the back of the front seat. And the boot is large for a small SUV. At 433 litres, that's one of the biggest in the class. It easily fit our bulky CarsGuide pram, and I also fit a bunch of awkwardly shaped boxes in here, so it's a good shape. Plus, the boot gets bigger the lower you go down in the range, because the lower ranges have a space saver spare tyre, which takes up less room. The highest specs have a full-size spare tyre, so you get less room in the boot, but it's still big. Driving in the Kia Seltos GT line is good. There is a 1.6 litre turbo engine on this model, which means it gets up hills nice and easily, cruises along highways really well. I did find the steering a little heavy, which I think is a bit odd in a small SUV, to be honest. I don't think it should be heavy at all, but I got used to it as the week went on. This is an all-wheel drive petrol version, which just means that you'll get better traction on loose surfaces, which actually always makes me feel more confident, even when I'm just driving around suburbia. I don't have to be off-road. And parking in the Seltos is good. The steering isn't heavy enough for it to be an issue. You can still park perfectly fine, and there's a really high definition reverse parking camera to help you out. Fuel efficiency is a claimed 7.6 litres per 100 Ks, and the best I've found it's done for me this week is 9.1 litres per 100 Ks. As far as safety goes, everything comes standard on this top spec. So you'll get airbags for driver and front passenger, plus side curtain airbags that extend to the back row. Then you've got things like auto emergency braking, recross traffic alert, forward collision warnings, and adaptive cruise control, which all come with this GT line, but they are optional on the lower spec models. Plus, there is a head-up display in the windscreen, which is super helpful for when you're driving along highways and you don't even want to glance down at the speedo. The sound in here is good. This GT line is the only one in the range fitted with Bose speakers, so turn it up and enjoy it. You can also plug in for Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which basically turns this giant screen into a large version of your phone, and you can use Maps to navigate and Spotify to listen to music and podcasts. One thing that really does annoy me with Kia is that their safety warnings interfere with whatever's on the audio, so you can miss out on a vital part of your podcast that you're listening to because the system is warning you about an upcoming road rule. You can turn it off, but I've never figured out how. The tech in itself is great though. The Kia Seltos GT line is a good small SUV and ticks all the boxes if this is the size you and your family are after. It looks good, drives well, has all the safety you'd want, and most importantly in a small SUV for a family, has really great interior space and boot space. I gave it a family rating of 7.7 out of 10 and my kids gave it the same. They love the air vents and the two-tone paint job. Like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel or click through to our website.